You can tell I was just out in the rain. The most simple and direct path to awakening is feeling your feelings. And there's a lot of caveats to this, my friends, because people assume that they have to dig their way to the heavens and are compelled to engage with shadow work and self-inquiry to the ends of the earth. And yes, there is a clear benefit to these practices, but also a very low ceiling. I'm always struck at how shocked new parents are at discovering that they can't control how their child feels. Their child has a temper tantrum and the parent hugs their child and tells them they love them, but they always realize that their child's feelings are their child's own to process. Likewise, even though you are the creator, your creations have by design been given free rein to run and play in the endless fields of consciousness. And so whether you're trying to know self away your difficult feelings, or I am the creator away your difficult feelings, or problem solve your difficult feelings, or transmute your difficult feelings, it always brings you back to square one, which is the immediate recognition that all you have ever needed to do is feel what it's like to be you on a purely energetic level. Rupert Spira describes awareness as a benevolent yet detached mother who watches her young children play. She's keeping an eye on things, but at the same time, she's not interfering with the game. So just as you're doing yourself a disservice by distracting yourself from your feelings with porn and pizza and non-duality videos, you're also doing yourself a disservice by digging into your feelings, trying to uncover the true depths of your fear when, in essence, most of your emotions are quite surface level. The practice of witnessing your emotions is incredibly simple, so fucking simple that the mind cannot possibly contain its significance. And so, let's take an example of checking your bank account, right? Let's say you check your bank account and there's only $100 left. And so the non-spiritual person typically reacts to this sort of thing by problem solving. They go on LinkedIn and apply for a million different jobs and then text their parents and their friends asking for money. And there's all this stress that they drum up in their system. But then the spiritual person responds to this stress by trying to transmute it, by telling themselves, I am the creator, and plastering a smile on their face and trying to float above this energetic cloud, which is just sitting there in their chest. But then the person who walks this line between creatorship and non-creatorship, who steps into the truth of their experience, just sits with the feeling and neither tries to dig into the feeling and transmute it, nor distract themselves. And they watch as the feeling undulates and moves throughout their body as if they were watching a crying child. That's the level of compassion that they have for themselves. Awareness is love. Awareness is acceptance. Awareness doesn't try to change or distract itself from anything. And so ultimately what happens to this third person is that one of two things becomes true. Either the problem is solved through them mystically through grace, or they solve the problems themselves. But unlike the first person, the steps they take to solve this problem are imbued with a certain quality of presence that aligns the solution they identify much more closely with their truest self. All that ego is your insistence on clinging to a false set of beliefs. And your difficult emotions are the natural consequence of this clinging, bubbling up in your awareness and begging for your permission to see it exactly how it is on an energetic level, and as such, release yourself from its tight grip. And so when I speak of so-called manifestation or integration or letting go of seeking, I'm always talking about the same thing, which is letting go of any belief system whatsoever, no matter how spiritual or separate, so to speak, it sounds, and making a quantum leap from knowing into not knowing, from control into observation. Because the truth, my friends, is that you're not in control of anything. And I know that that contradicts a lot of what is said about how you are consciousness, you are the creator, reality is the consequence of what you believe about yourself. But ultimately, the true way to access those deeper levels of control and manifestation is about giving up control. And all that belief is control. Belief is trying to fit the ineffable perfume of life into this tiny box of concepts that your mind then holds tight to its chest because it's terrified of what happens if it lets go. And I suppose I'm guilty of it myself, because I talk a lot on this channel about spiritual concepts, about telling yourself you're the creator and leaning into your birthright and all of these things. And they are true on some level, but ultimately, the one practice which you will be returning to again and again throughout your spiritual journey is simply feeling your feelings and seeing that your feelings are indeed yours to feel. And I think where a lot of people get stuck is that they've not really allowed themselves to stop knowing things. It's just that the terms and conditions of what they know has become slightly more refined. So whereas before their knowing was resting on these concepts of human life and social obligation and the contingencies of separation, it's just now resting on concepts of being a starseed, being a wanderer, being conscious, whatever else it is. And so ultimately, the same need for control, the same fear of death is still not being processed. It's just being displaced onto a slightly more comforting and slightly more true feeling concept than the real essence of reality, which is beyond concepts and beyond belief altogether. You are neither consciousness nor unconsciousness. This in itself is a duality. Belief is duality. Oneness is duality. Oneness implies two-ness. And so drop all of it. Drop all of the spiritual concepts. Drop all of the beliefs about who you are, who you're not, who you should be, and just feel the pure aliveness pulsing through every crack and crevice of your being. This is what you have missing, my friends. The willingness to just fucking feel. And a lot of spiritual teachers, they say things like, it's okay to feel limited by the sheer mundanity of human experience, which is absolutely true. Human experience is very plain. It's very much just a tiny sliver of what consciousness is capable of creating. But I think that the real way that you should respond to these feelings of boredom and limitation is through feeling what those feelings feel like themselves. The way to nirvana is through samsara. The way to freedom is through limitation. And so no matter how many times you remind yourself that you're the creator or try to transmute your feelings or put them off onto a video or something else, it's like it's still going to be sitting there as this energetic void in your heart, which will always, like a child, be asking for you to just give it a fucking hug and let it be. And so you might even be noticing a shift in my own content, because as much as I love talking about wanderers and starseeds and transmutation and all of these things, what I've realized here in Scotland is that spirituality is so simple. It's literally just about feeling. It's about feeling your way through life. It's about allowing the indecision, the fear, the scarcity mindset, all of it to just dissolve into this heart-based consciousness, which is not about acquiring a new set of beliefs about what you're capable of as the creator, but just by giving all of it up and watching as life now. My phone ran out of storage, and maybe that's a sign that I should wrap this up. The point is that things work out in your favor when you give up the need for them to work out in your favor. Life, the powers of synchronicity, whatever you want to call it, they only really sort themselves out organically when you just stop trying to make anything happen. You have to let go of every single belief system you have ever had. The true essence of manifestation, or whatever it is simply not trying to manifest anything. It's Adyashanti who... Okay, fuck. It did it again. It keeps doing it. He says... Whatever manifests naturally as the consequence of your letting go is far more interesting than whatever the hell you're trying to manifest. Okay, I love you. Take care.